Yo, how's it going? It's me, it's Stu. I'm here, I'm on YouTube. I'm gonna play some drums for you. Now, if you know me from Instagram, then first of all, welcome. I'm so happy to have you here, and thank you for all of your support. Now, if you don't know me, check out my page on Instagram, Beyond the Beat 17, and it's gonna give you a really good idea of who I am and what I do. The purpose of this video today is for me to show you 3 easy sticking patterns that you can utilize in a number of ways. They are so much fun, and I probably use them a little bit too much. I definitely use them too much. But hey, we all have our go-to patterns, right? This is what starts that process of us developing our own voice. We have to be inspired by things that we see. We have to use them. We have to practice them for long enough until they start to show up in our own playing. And hopefully that's what I'm going to be able to do for you today. Now, it's going to be a lot easier for me to show you what I'm going to when I'm sat down on that kit behind me. So follow me. Let's go play some drums. Whoa! All right, so first stage of this amazing lesson that you're going to get today is play these following 3 patterns on the snare drum, okay? I've got 3 for you that are ridiculously easy to play, but you've still got to be careful about the way that you play them, okay? The 3 sticking patterns are as follows. 1. 2. And then 3. It's really, really important to recognize that each of those patterns is simply made up of 2 phrases. Right, left, left, or just right, left. I'm a big fan of trying to see how much of a result we can get out of one resource, basically. So it's a very, very common concept, and it's something that you guys should probably start to think about from drumming day 1. It's the idea that you're not just learning this one pattern that I'm showing you. Like, I'm using this video as an example to show you how I might play these things, but when you decide to play them, of course, you have this artistic license to take it away, to mess around with the pattern, add your own little bits to it, make it cool, creative, but make sure that you play it appropriately in any piece that you decide to. I'm going to show you now how they sound with a bass drum played as 8th notes to the 16th notes that we were just playing our fills in. That means that the fill, we're going to be counting 1E and A, 2E and A, 3E and A, 4E and A, all the way through, and you're going to be popping a bass drum down on the 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. I'm going to play each of the patterns 4 times. Try playing along with me. Here's pattern number 1.
Pattern 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
And finally, we're going to play pattern 3. You do get bonus points for the intensity of the drummer's face that you use when you play any one of these exercises. Drummer face all day long, baby. Right, exercise number 3, let's go. Here we are. 1, 2, what am I like? 1, 2, 3, 4. Hopefully you got on well with all 3 of those patterns, okay? If you did, well done. If you didn't, I'm sure that you will with just a little bit more practice. Don't forget to break these patterns down as much as you need to. It's so important that you imprint the pattern on your mind before you're able to move it around the kit, which is the next stage that we're going to explore. Think of it like putting the icing on a cake, okay? The icing is the decoration on top of the cake, but you cannot put the decoration on before you have baked the cake itself. And that's what we're kind of doing now, all right? We're kind of getting our mixing bowl out, we're throwing all the ingredients in, we're seeing how they sit together, we're trying them so that our hands don't have to move around, and that way we're able to focus all of our concentration on what we're doing right in front of us. When you're a bit more comfortable with that, then you're able to just kind of lash out a little bit, play a couple of the other voices around the kit, make it sound a little bit more interesting. I'm going to show you that right now. But it is important to recognize before we do that every single right hand in these patterns, as you've probably heard, is going to be played as an accented note, which means that we're going to hit it harder. Every left hand is a ghost note, which means it's going to be very, very quiet. And we're trying here to maintain that balance throughout all of these exercises, even when you're playing that bass drum. If you were playing them as a fill, you don't have to play that bass drum. The bass drum doesn't really enhance the fill unless you were to play it on a cymbal like this. Now, of course, you can see there, and you can hear there, that adding the bass drum to the crash cymbal added a nice little bit of depth. The groove that I was playing then wouldn't have had that thud and that wallop without the bass drum. I'm quite sure that you would be aware of that concept in the first place, but just in case, I would always play a bass drum if I'm doing it with a crash. If I was using an effects cymbal, like maybe the bell of a ride, not strictly an effects cymbal, but you know what I'm getting at, or a couple of little splashes, maybe this funky little stack that I use on the right hand side of my kit. All this is a 12-inch splash, 12-inch splash. It's a 12-inch splash, sir. This is a 12-inch splash. I can't even say it. A 12-inch splash, which is inside an upturned 13-inch china. So the sharp edge of the china does indeed chop into my sticks. If I was using an effect cymbal like that, you don't necessarily have to play those bass drums. However, when you're a bit more comfortable with the exercises, you can decide where you want to play the bass drums. You don't have to play them, for example, on each of the right hand strokes that I was just showing you with the groove on the crash. You could just play something like this. I'm aware that I started rambling on. I have a habit of that. You're gonna get to know this about me, guys. The more I post on YouTube, you're gonna notice that I go off on these little rambles every now and again. But hopefully, the information that I ramble about is relevant to you. If it's not, shoot me a comment, tell me what you like about the video, tell me what maybe I could improve. If you want to stay aware of all of the stuff that I post, just subscribe to the page, like this video, and if you think that any other drummers are going to get something from it, then of course there's always the share button. It's a really, really lovely way to support what I'm doing for you. Thanks, guys. So, stage number 2, we are finally going to start to talk about how to develop this around the kit. It's literally the same thing that we were just discussing, but we're going to play each of the right-hand accents around the toms in a consecutive order from the first rack to the second rack to the floor tom. I'm going to show you once again each of those patterns 4 times in a row. I'm not going to play the 8th note bass drums this time. Okay, here I go. Pattern 1. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Pattern 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. And finally, pattern number 3. 1, almost didn't count then. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Simple as that. It's as simple as that. The beautiful thing about this though is that when you're thrashing around the toms with it, if you keep that left hand really nice and light, you're going to end up making something that sounds a little bit like a solo just by developing each of these patterns to a level of independence where you don't really have to think about them. They're interchangeable. You're just kind of thinking more about the sound that you're trying to create rather than the order of the drums that you're playing. Let me give you a very quick example, and then we're going to go on to the final stage of the exercise.
Here we go, check it out. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh yeah! Oh, it gets me so excited. Right, there you go. Stage 2, done. I'm going to reiterate the second pattern. Right, left, left, right, left, right, left, left. Now the beautiful thing about this one is that you have a snare drum that falls on beat number 2 if you're playing in 16th notes. And I'm going to show you what that sounds like, first of all, when I remember to put the snares back on. And second of all, I'm going to show you that I'm going to transition into playing that left hand as an accent so that then you can hear how a groove starts to develop. Starts to develop. Full stop.
1, 2, 3, 4.
And there you go. Simple as that. He says, when he forgets to put his snares on and does other silly things like that. I'm sure you'll forgive me.